Hey boys and girls, okay, hope everybody can hear me. I am walking back from the movie theater. Very interesting experience. A lot has happened today. I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll just start back with what just happened. So I was able to watch a movie with someone for the first time in forever. Her name, well actually I won't say her name, right? She's cool. And we don't publicly use people's names. We'll just call her Elle. Call her Ellie or something. Ellie. So, Ellie and I were in the movie theater alone. And at first I saw her and I was like, I'm not going to talk to this chick just because I'm in this weird place where, remember after that incident with the whole toxic femininity thing, I've been like, man, like, do I really want to like deal with American women, you know? But I was like, no, like, you can't be painting everyone with a broad brush, especially after that whole Madame R incident. And I've had some pretty positive incidences. Like, I talked with this lady today. Her name was Karen. Really, really cool lady. She watched my stuff and we had a really cool conversation. I was able to get it recorded, so it'll be on the podcast when I put it out. It was we talked about the nature of covenants and promises. So what was interesting is I was talking to Elle, and Elle is dating this guy who moved to a country in South America, and now she is debating going down to go see him because they're still dating, but you know, he went down to South America and she's up here in New York, Rochester, and just living with her parents, and she's kind of just a whole debating that. And we watched the movie Past Lives, which was really cool. It's about these childhood Korean friends. Now, you're probably not really able to see me much, so hopefully you can just listen. But what was interesting, there was a lot of things that we talked about, but I want to first address something that's on it, because I'd asked her to give me a ride, and you know, she defaulted to a no, even though we had watched a movie together and we'd had this sort of intimate conversation. It was interesting that we talked about sort of the culture and everything, but her instant default when I asked her for a favor, and she was going on the way, it was literally on the way for her, and she defaulted to a no. And I asked myself why, and you know, she's like, sorry, this and that, it was for her safety. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I can understand why she did it, so I'm not upset with her, right? I don't take it personal. But this is, again, something I kind of wanted to point out, which is where and why we need to work on our perceptions and our understandings, right? Because think about it. So I know I wasn't going to hurt her, and I know she wasn't in danger, right? Yet, in spite of all that, whatever was going on, rattling around in her head or whatever, she didn't feel safe enough to let someone she'd watched the movie with, who had talked with her, she didn't feel safe enough to give that person a ride or whatever, right? And, you know, she got my Instagram, and, you know, she might just be kind or whatever, and this and that, might talk shit, be whatever, or she might actually mean what she says or whatever, but I don't know that, right? And that's what I'm saying is, like, this is the difficulty of what's we're struggling with in this country, is that, like, first off, there's a lot of mistrust, but it also comes from the fact that we really struggle in our perceptions, right? So what I'm saying is this, is that your reality, something you believe. So one thing I've come to see is, like, one of the saddest things in life is to miss out on something that is for something that wouldn't ever be. What I mean like that is, so for instance, in this instance, it's just giving me a ride up the road, right? So it's just like, oh, could you help me out? So she missed an opportunity to demonstrate compassion for fear of her safety that was never in danger. Now, I know that, but she doesn't know that. Now, why doesn't she know that? Because her perceptions are diluted, right? Because if she was paying attention to the conversation and she understood how to read how to read people, she would understand that this guy's not going to hurt me. But she doesn't have that confidence in herself or the knowledge and the foresight. So she made a decision which she defaulted to safety, which was no. And we have to recognize it's that mindset, guys. It's that mindset that keeps us from accomplishing anything. in our life. Because this is just a small incident where it's like, oh, well, those girls who have helped guys and like they've been axe murdered and stuff like that. Sure, I can't speak to those incidences. I can't speak specifically. I know I'm not going to hurt her. And I know if she'd asked the right questions and she was able to see me, she would know that. But she wasn't able to. So she missed out on basically the opportunity to serve me, right? And you know, that's one of the conditions of the game or whatever. But this is how we miss out on opportunities to grow, right? And so we always establish systems and we leave people on our own. And I was like, hey, I understand, and I'm walking home now. But it's like, it's that, guys. It's that level of perception. So it's just like her inability to understand or recognize an opportunity allowed, and it was to ensure something that was never in danger. So she just missed out. She didn't gain anything. She just lost something. And that was something I asked her. I was like, are you going to gain anything from not being with this guy? And this is something I think we need to always think about in our lives and recognize, is the fear I have, is the opportunity or the threat I feel real versus the opportunity that I lose by missing out on it, right? Oftentimes we're worried about risks or dangers or things that aren't real and that 99% of the time won't happen or work out. But we miss out on real things that could have happened if we had developed the perception and the ability to capitalize on those opportunities. But when we don't prepare or have those opportunities or really take advantage of what we need to know, then we miss out on it. And that's what happens, right? So I don't blame her. And if I see her again, I'm going to send her this video, right? I'm going to send her this audio track and recognize there's no judgment. But let this be a lesson, right? Because the lesson here is like, this is what happens when we don't expand our mindset and our ability to perceive things. Just like the ability to listen to music or to read a book, if we practice and we actually spend time learning how to master it, we can see someone who's going to hurt us instantly and someone who isn't. But if you don't have those perceptions because you don't speak to enough people or you don't have enough honest, intimate interactions and you just stick around the same people and you generally live a closed off life like so many people here do, you generally are always going to have these closed off opportunities. And so you are never able to grow. So I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just saying the reality is the only thing that was missed out here was an opportunity for compassion and connection. There was nothing more there. And recognizing I have no other agenda than to get her back with her dude. So it's thinking that because of irrational fear, because of things that have literally nothing to do with the context we're in. This is why being present is so important. Because when you're not present and you're not looking at the situation as it is in front of you, but you're projecting things from the past or things that you hear from other people, you let other things external to you do your thinking for you, you are unable to take advantage of the opportunities life gives you. And this is an opportunity Elle missed out on. So once again, there's no blame, but this is another classic example of that happening, guys. And so this is where you might say, like, as a young woman, well, she was in danger, things like that. But think about that. This is, once again, I'm not saying young women throw yourself in danger, but I'm saying if you lack the perception to perceive danger versus opportunity, so you just opt and sell yourself that everything is dangerous, you're going to live in a box your whole life. And then your spirit is going to suffer and be constrained. And there's no one else to blame but yourself. So that's just something to think about and consider, right? And this is not meant to be a critique, but just an honest assessment of what just happened. But that's okay. So there's a lot of other things I went through and kind of discussed tonight. And I have a lot of thoughts and stuff, but this is really the big thing that I kind of wanted to share because I felt like that was interesting. And I've noticed some growth in myself because I've seen that like reflected in Elle. This is not just her, but even within myself, I'm realizing that prejudgment, that sense of perceiving danger, like when I talk to a girl or perceiving and letting the past inform my present, which then informs my future. That's a weakness in not being able to let go and be fully present. So that's something that I need to work on. Now I enjoy the walk. I'm almost here. I'm gonna get to my car soon. So it's no big deal. I just thought that was an interesting lesson, and I'm putting that out there. It's just a soundtrack. Obviously we don't have anything because it's dark as hell out and I'm walking, but luckily my eyes work a lot better than this camera. So guys, that's my observation for the day. That's your 7 to 12 minute lesson. Not sure what to call it, but it was a good lesson. Anyway, this is the Onion Yabor Raising Project. Stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, the opportunity and the gift of life is in the present. That's why it's called such. Peace.